Well, there we have it. Absolute proof that in 2024 you don't need Thememaker's Toolkit to make a decent looking park. I'm going to say nothing about Mask Bandit and Mike Cheats pulling together No Name Land here, of course. And here we are, 10 episodes later with a full park. As always, guys, thank you so much for your support with this one. I think you've loved it as much as I have. It's probably time to take a tour. Let's go. Here she is then, guys, Gypsy Point from the sky, and I have loved doing this park. It's a no Thememaker's Toolkit park. It has dragged every single bit of creativity from my body, and I have loved every single second of this series. This has probably been my favourite series to pull together. So, of course, I will put it on the workshop. That link will be down below. But let's do a real quick up-top tour before we go into Tejicam, right? Because it's kind of important that you see it from the top to see the context, especially if you're finding this for the first time. So this is where we started. It's our entrance area, and then we added the Eurofighter here. Oh yes, I love it. It just gives such amazing views from the top, right? Wait until you see it down below. Like, oh, it's incredible. Then we've got the RMC that's sitting there all pretty. Then we came across to the surprise stand-up coaster that's all Viking themed. I love this view. This is just, chef's kiss, moi. Yeah. And then we came around to the spinning coaster with the surprise building that just came out of nowhere. I don't even know where my brain came up with it, but hey, it worked. And then we've got our pirate area, which I also love. This is definitely one of my favourite pirate areas I've done, and I've done some good pirate areas, right? But this is definitely my favourite when especially now I've looked back on it. So yes, and then after that we came right to the back of the park and we put in our is it Intamin, is it Mack, is it Gerslauer, who cares coaster. I love it over the water. And then of course we have our boosty bikes, which are pretending to be jet skis. Yes. And of course, as one more time, this is the view that you get from this point. Oh, love it. Right, let's jump down to Tejicam. Here we are at the entrance then, and I have to say, this is probably one of my favourite entrances I think I have ever pulled together. I mean, take away the shackles of Thememaker's Toolkit, and you end up using the pieces in-game as they were intended, and this is what you end up with. And guys, oh, yes. And thank you to Lost Kingdom for having such a beautiful entrance to try and copy, because I don't think I could have come up with this on my own. Let's be honest. So, yeah, we've got names and stuff, by the way. Thank you all so much for your submissions. We'll go through who did those when we get there. But we're starting here in the car park, and it's definitely not a car park that's fit for this park. I mean, when I first set out to do this park, it was supposed to be a regional affair, but it's ended up being more Thorpe Park than Oakwood. So we'll just forget the idea of this car park existing. It probably needs to have a different one over the road, so it's all good. But yes, we come into the main plaza entrance then, and it's just, I don't even have words for it, right? I love it, and I can't express what's going through my head. This is the thing, right? So some of you may look at it and go, yeah, okay, whatevs. It's an entrance. But for me, this is exactly as I wanted this bit to be. Like, where you've got all of these rides and stuff in the background. So here you've got the plane, I can't remember what it's called, the plane ride, and you've got the Insanity in the background, and you've got the Junior coaster here. It's just all of the sightlines I want. Oh, and the RMC in the background that just frames off this area. It's everything I wanted this area to be. By the way, do you want me to do a tour of the original Gypsy Point I did? Because this is the second version of this park. Shall I do a tour of that so you can see just how my building style has changed over the last 4 or 5 years? Because trust me, it's incredibly different. So here's the gift shop, and yeah, like, again, it's just all about playing with the items that you've got and just being done with it, right? Inside here, it's nice and simple, but it's detailed enough to be a gift shop. And I mean, it's exactly what you would expect from stuff, right? What more can you say? So we're going to start over here with the Junior coaster, and what a bloody pleasure this was to pull together. I thought to myself, I'm not going to do the usual thing that I do with Junior coasters and have them a little bit tame and a bit timid. This feels like this is a sort of like a mid-level park. This would sit somewhere at the Alton Towers level, where you've got older kids that are coming to here, so they would have a bit more of a thrilling but still a Junior coaster. So that's what we've got here. And then of course The building, as we come around this way, ta-da, is very much inspired around some of the jungle buildings and stuff that you get because of this whole theme and stuff that we've got going on. And I mean, this area, it's not deliberately designed to be this theme. Like, it doesn't set the precedence for the whole park. But actually, what happened was the whole park ended up having an overarching theme of like adventure. So this entrance kind of makes sense. So anyway, the junior coaster, it's called Cobra Pass. This one is by CJ Pike 83. Thank you, my friend. Good name for this one. Yes, 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 yes. And then, of course, we come through the cattle pen of hell and we come into the station here. And there you go. This is the station. I absolutely adore this open beamwork. I mean, when I used to play Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, there was a CTR, not a CTR because that's custom rides. There was a custom pack that introduced all of this like jungle theme and all of this exposed world. And I loved building with it. Oh, I loved it. And I missed it so much. And so that's what we've got in here. That's exactly what we've got in here, and I absolutely love it. Right, train's about to go. Let's go for a ride. Oh yes, here we are at the exit, and my god, yes, it's just, I love it. I love this park so much. I just can't put words to it, right? Because I just get so giddy about this park. And a lot of you will probably sit there thinking, No Name Landia, Chacho, was so much better, and Mike Sheets and Mars Bandit just absolutely wiped the floor with you. And I'm okay with that, because that is a bloody good park. But I'm just chuffed that I was able to do this without Thememaker's Toolkit, let's be honest. So, we're going to come back around here then to the Eurofighter, because I think this turned out really nicely. And I mean, the only real, hang on, where am I even walking? The only real place you can get any kind of views of this ride is from this side of the path, because there it is, because you can't see it from the lake, and that's the whole point, that's the whole purpose. This thing is custom supported to the max, and it took forever to do, particularly as I was struggling with the Gulpy, behave, don't you think Gulpy's more excited about this park than I am? And yeah, so this I was fighting with the game over the custom supports, because I would probably have used the Thememaker's Toolkit supports that come for the Eurofighters and stuff. But actually, the in-game ones are alright when you get used to how they need to sit. They don't connect to the track correctly, but I mean, they look alright from here, right? It does what it needs to do, so yeah. And the layout itself was quite fun to pull together. I was like, well, I don't want it to be your typical out-of-the-box Eurofighter layout, right? So I wanted it to be something a little bit different, and that's why we ended up with the three, I'm going to call them three Immelmans. I know one's a dive loop, but that's where you get that 3 combo. And I love it, right? I'm alright with it. So this is the queue line, and I wanted it to be inside a tree and inside the actual area itself. Then, of course, you've got the station design. I wanted this to be so overblown, so over the top for a Eurofighter station, and I think I managed to achieve that. And all of these like intricate, fine little details on the station, I think I just managed to pull it off quite nicely. Everything has a place, and everything has a reason for being there and stuff. And yeah, I dig it. And Ross Budgeon's, oh, hang on. Hang on. And Ross Budgeon's music, by the way, absolutely finishes this area off. I love it. I love it. I love it. And then this is inside the station. There we go. Very lightly themed, but actually, when I've come back to this feels all right. It's been about 3 weeks since I've been in the park, because I finished this quite a while ago, and I thought, no, I need to let the park settle, see if there's any changes I want to make. and off we go. So there is a name for this one. This is Cursed Serpent, and this one is Zero Star Studios 2943. Thank you for your submission. Let's go on a ride on your coaster. That's probably as good as you're going to get with the Eurofighter and Planet Coaster, because you really do fight with the coaster engine. Like, just when you smooth it, it just absolutely takes everything away. But hey, you get some really decent views from the exit. It's so close to the park entrance, it's unreal. But yeah, exit by the gift shop, which we've already seen inside here. Grab your photo on the way out. Still getting the crash, by the way, when I try and put photos in. I think I've got too many photos loaded into the folder and it just doesn't like it. It's 2 PCs it does it in now, so I know it's definitely not my PC. So I'm sure I'll find a way of fixing it one day. So there's the Cobra statue. Love it. Like, it just sits so amazingly perfect. Right, we've got a fork in the road here. We can either go down to the right hand side or we can go down to the left hand side. I think we should do this in the order we did the episodes, right? Because that's kind of what we're doing. That's what we're doing here. The plane ride. I love this plane ride. I did have visions of like using smaller themed rides around the park, and I actually ditched it in the end, and I kind of kick myself for it because this turned out really nice, especially at peep level. I kind of wish I'd made the effort to do the other stuff. I mean, it's got low level theming and stuff, but yeah, I kind of wish I went all out now. Loving this bit too. This was just such a throwaway idea, especially with the entrance portal here with the pinatas on top. It's got absolutely nothing to do with Western. I just wanted something fun and colourful, so that's what we ended up here. But this little hut, oh, love it. Imagine what this would look like with Thememaker's Toolkit. I would have overblown it completely, and it would just look completely over the top. I'm really glad it would have all sorts going on, and this is just nice and simple. It kept it really effective. And actually, I think this is the lesson of the entire thing. Like, everything is just simple. Everything's so much simpler when you do no Thememaker's Toolkit. It really is. Photo booth then for the RMC is here. Yes, and then the queue line. This is just perfectly claustrophobic. This is definitely we need to fit in as much queue as we can because this is a big ride, but we also need entrance and exit from this way, right? And then the queue line, you probably can't see it very well, so let's go down here. Just sits in the middle here, but then it wraps around all of the outside here too. And I just, yes, I love it. Let's just quickly go back to the entrance, so because I didn't do this for the Eurofighter. So there you go. Steel Stallion. Spike, thank you for your name on this one, mate. Seems only right that you make a return to the channel, doesn't it? Hey, can I have some signs, please? That's not the reason I've chose your name, by the way. Just in case you were wondering. So we're going to walk up this way. We're going to go into the station. And again, I kept this a really simple, open affair. This double beaming, I use it quite a lot, this double beaming effect, but it's just used to such great effect here. Like, if you have a look at all of this bit and how they interact with each other, it just makes sense. I wish we had smaller pieces so that we could have nails and stuff. I know if I use the haunted house beams, I can use the what they called the screen mountings as nuts and bolts. I've done that before, but these beams are too thin to do that with, and you don't have anything thinner to do it with. But yes. Anyway, the RMC we shall talk about once we've gone for a ride. Oh yes, it's the RMC that probably should have been a hyper. Yes, very much inspired about, or from, should I say, Airy Force 1. I wanted that absolute frantic RMC to be in this park, but let's be honest, you all saw it in the last episode. By the way, in the episode that nobody bothers to watch, I spoiled it and said that there could have been a hyper in the park. And actually, I'm kind of glad that you guys in the comments have backed me up on this one and said, no, we didn't really want the hyper. We're glad that we've got the RMC. So I'm glad too. And you're going to see, by the way, later on when we come to this part of the park, that there's some deliberate framing that I did. So when you're asking about the positioning of supports and stuff that seemed very... well, let's say jippity at the point of jippity point at the point of adding in the coaster. Hiya, Chief Beef. Yeah, they all make sense when you look at the framing and stuff. Everything I do is deliberate, right? Not sometimes I don't make it obvious, but it's definitely all there. So there we go. There's Insanity. This is definitely one of the rides I wished I'd put more effort into doing. I wanted it at the time to be generic, but now I've gone back to the park and looked at it, I kind of wish that I had made a bit more effort. But I'm also, by the way, I'm still glad that I didn't make the effort, because the coasters are supposed to be the stars of the show. So it's a bit of a bittersweet thing, really. This building came out of nowhere, and I was like, oh, I've got these visions of going into a gothic area. Spoiler alert, the log flume was supposed to be a gothic log flume, and it's supposed to be indoors, and this was supposed to be the transition area into that. But as it turns out, it fitted quite nicely with the Viking stuff. So yeah, I managed to pull it off, I think. And here we are in the in the transition zone. Maybe if I had Thememaker's Toolkit, this might not be a restaurant. This might actually be an arcade or something, because it feels like it's a midpoint. But I like it. Again, it's this double beaming, and I use this quite a lot as well, where I use quad beams. I just wanted to do something different. I wanted there to be a different style with stuff, so that's kind of what I was going for. That's what I was going for there, and I ended up with the quad beams. And of course, you see everybody using this kind of technique, right? And then the whole chimneys into the ground and stuff. It's really, really common, but I dig how it turned out in the end. I really do. So we're going to walk past the Starflyer, and this is I'm going to say this so many times. I think this is one of my favorite views from the park, right? So you've got the Pathos 3 there. Glad I chose that ride. I rarely use it, and in an ideal world, this would be the Top Scan, you know, the Samurai at Thorpe Park. It would be that kind of ride sitting there, but this is the closest we're going to get, and I'm glad I chose it. Actually, it was either going to be this or the Top Spin. I use the Top Spin too much. There's only so many times that you can trigger up water to the top spin, right? But this is the view that I love. I love. Especially as you've got the spinning coaster on the right-hand side, you've got the stand-up coaster on the left-hand side. It's just, yes. And then as you approach, you've just got the buildings that just appear. Like this one here, where you've got the boathouse, and it's an actual upturned boat. When I was putting this in, I was thinking, oh man, this is really janky. I don't think I like this. Like, how am I gonna pull this off? But yeah, I actually think I managed to pull it off. It's definitely a rowboat, that's for sure. I mean, in my original design, I'd actually planned to use the in-game piece and turn it upside down, but it was too big. And I thought, no, let's do custom. And I'm so glad that I did. And I mean, this building itself, from down on peep level, is just everything I wanted it to be. Especially after I added the icing technique, and I did that in the spinning coaster episode. I'm so glad that I added it, because it just finishes it off. I think it was missing something at the point of me finishing it, but I didn't know what it was until I did this effect on the spinning coaster station. But yeah, guys, I love it. I love this building so much. And then of course you've got the photo building here. This is like the same style but different building, and we'll leave the ride in a minute, and you'll be able to see it. Whoops, you'll be able to see it properly. And then this building, well, I struggled with it at the start, because I wanted this to be at ground level, because this is way too much exposed stone for me. But now I'm down at peep level, I'm like, do you know what? It kind of works. It still feels a little bit too high, but you have to be this high to be able to accommodate for paths and stuff going underneath the track, and you have to have at least a minimum of 4 meters underneath the station level. So you're kind of stuck to 6 meters being a minimum height for stuff like stations. It's too high for IRL, but it works, right? Yes. And then there's the stand-up coaster. What an absolute random beaut this turned out to be. Like, I don't even know where it came from. I just sat down and played with a played with a layout and thought, yeah, this is probably what the park would put in around about the early 90s. Same time as Shockwave and stuff went in at Drayton Manor, and it's got the same profiling and everything, and I am totally here for it. Like, yes, I love it. So there's the name Viking Voyage for this one. No, wait, yeah, Viking Voyage. This one's Wildcat Enthusiast. Thank you, mate. You've been on the channel before, so welcome back. It was a name I definitely recognise. So yeah, Viking Voyage, thank you for your name. We're going to have to get up to the station without any dramas, because there's a lot of stuff on here that you can get stuck on, and it's it's quite maddening. There you go. There it is from the oh yes, love it. There it is from the station. And those corkscrews, well, those corkscrews were just absolute beasts to do. I ended up doing custom corkscrews because I wanted to do the continuous roll on them. The in-game ones just don't work very well, so yeah, love it. Inside the station, I kept this really simple, and at the time I was kind of thinking to myself, this isn't detailed enough, but actually now I've come back, I'm like, yeah, do you know what, this is alright. This is good enough. So let's go on a ride. There she is in all of her glory, and I absolutely love, by the way, that you get completely different viewpoints of the station from different parts of the ride. So like when you're coming in on that brake run, I love the view of the side of the building, absolutely incredible. I don't even know where that came from either, just my head just suddenly exploded. So here's the photo unit then, and then of course another view of the food unit that we've got. So we're going to walk back round this way. I'm so glad I chose this one as well. So this was another one I chose instead of the top spin, and because the Gears of Fear I never use, and I absolutely love it as a ride type. And then we come around here. So here's the gift shop. There's a gift shop. See it in pretty, and then of course inside here it's all detailed and kitted out with non-Thememaker's Toolkit stuff, and it feels kind of weird. But the thing is, I don't even know if I'd go back and redo this with Thememaker's Toolkit stuff, you know. I think this works. This in here works exactly as I wanted it to be. So, yes. And then we come to the spinning coaster. Yes, it's off the shelf. It's a coaster of the type that I've used many times before. Originally in Reigate Lake. Then I used it in Cadnam Castle. I've used it here, and I don't know whether I used it in Jippity Point. No, we're in Jippity Point now. What am I even talking about? Whether I used it in Fundy Fun Spot. I don't think I did. But did I use it in Grosvenor Gardens as well? I can't remember. It's been 4 years, guys. Like, what do I know about this stuff? But it's the perfect layout. I wouldn't want it to be any other way, right? So, yes. And then this part of the park, I wanted there to be the shipwreck thing. I toyed with the idea of having a splash pad in this area, but no, actually the boat worked out perfectly. And then we ended up with this building, and it's just, again, where did it even come from? In my head, I have got no idea. I still noticed today, by the way, there are some imperfections with this, but that's actually part of it. It looks like a proper Viking building. And yes, like, do I wish this was thatched roof rather than tiled? Yeah, I absolutely do. But no, I am really chuffed with how this has turned out, especially now, as I said, it's probably been, what, 2 months since I did this, so it's settled, and I've gone back to it and gone, yeah, all right, this is good. So we do have a name. How do I even say this? Is it Jormungandr, I think. Jormungandr. Anyway, Planko Cat, thank you for that tongue twister. But absolutely worked out perfectly for this one. Here's the queue line, and it wraps around that way, and then of course we go through here into absolute cattle pen. This reminds me very much of Dragon's Fury's queue line at Chessington. That's kind of where I was going with the inspiration. You get some really decent views of the station from here, and then we come inside this way, and there you go. We're starting to get the whole pirate theme kicking in now, because of course it's Vikings, right? So that's what you'd expect. So we're going to go for a ride. This one's not going to be a POV. This is going to be a train shot, because the POVs are just sickening. So a train shot, here we go. Oh yes, coming out of the exit of this one to an awesome view of the stand-up coaster is just absolutely beautifully framed. Love it, love it, love it. But there you go, there's the spinning coaster. Should we try it one more time? Jormungandr. There you go, and there's the photo booth for this one, intentionally set aside from the exit path, a little bit like Rita's is at Alton Towers. We just sort of like ran out of room to put it in, and actually this fits quite nicely, so it's all good. And then we come to my favourite area, well, my favourite pirate area, should I say. And I loved, by the way, I loved Cadnam Castle's pirate area. I thought that was absolutely brilliant. Grosvenor Gardens was good, but Cadnam Castle for me was like my pinnacle at that time. But now I have a new pinnacle, because these buildings are just so simple. I overcomplicated Cadnam Castles because of the use of Thememaker's Toolkit enabled me to do like really intricate parts of the build where it could be like tiny little jutty out bits. But this, you're forced to the grid. Well, you're not, because you can remove the building from the grid, can't you? But this for me was just a different way of dealing with the building grid and stuff, and I was like, actually, I really like it. I really like it. And then this came together, and it just looks so. What am I stuck to? There you go. This just looks so good, and like these little brickwork things, it gives it a little bit of a cartoony vibe. All they are the statue mouths from the adventure pack, and they're just turned on the side and they just sit in the wall. And the Baroque pieces, you know, the Baroque balcony and stuff. And then these are the same thing, but turned not on their side, but like, I don't know what axis it would be on. The said axis, and then just put round into an arch. It's just so simple and effective, but I love the building. Like, I love it, and it's just all of the geometric bits that you get as well, and the fact that this sort of like cuts off here, but in the background it continues on the same trajectory, and the sticky outy bit here with no supports or beams or anything underneath it. I don't even know, again, don't know where it came from. It just happened. I'm glad I used a fountain here, by the way. If you remember back to the episode, this was originally going to be a flower bed or something, and the game crashed and I lost all of my progress and I had to put them back in, and I was like, no, I'm going to try it with the fountain. I am so glad I used the fountain. Just so glad. And then this is the log flume. This was supposed to be one of those really like crappy travelling fair style log flumes, but it turned into being a bit of a Battle Galleons style log flume, and I really like it. It has no name, by the way. Nobody suggested a name, and it's all a bit left out, so I've kept it as it is. But yeah, so like all of the broken wall pieces and stuff on here is just fits in perfectly. And yes, this was the episode, by the way, that we had the fight about the flags. Yes, they do droop. Go and do it for yourselves. I'm not even going to open that again. So here is the inside of here. Yes. And then, of course, we have the station. There we go. And we've not actually seen from inside the station here, right? But there you go. Here's the station. Here's all the ride area. Looks decent. Yeah, sod it. Let's go for a ride, shall we? Ah, there we go, one log flume, and we're going to exit this way. And this is a path technique I actually use in Funded Fun Spot, and I completely forgot about it. And it's this idea of having the firehouse roof, which is like a sandy effect, and then the driftwood on the floor, just to give the idea of well, rail sleepers, but it's not. It's like supposed to be a bit of an adventure trail and stuff. Right, we are going to take a fairly long trek around the park now, because we are sort of at the end of the the areas. That's kind of by design, by the way. I didn't want this to be a cyclical park, and as a result it means that the log flume is a little bit unforgotten, and that's kind of what a park like this would do. They would just throw the log flume in the back and just hope for the best. In case you're wondering, by the way, the park is empty, and that's because I tried to do this with 1,000 guests in the park, and they were getting in the way of the sightlines and the views and stuff, so I got rid of them. They are banished. So here we are. We've just gone through Entertainer. We're back at the Eurofighter. One more look at here, and then we're going to come down over this way. So loving this. Well, we've done this bit, haven't we? But the view of the Eurofighter, this little outpost thing, love it as well. Yes, just brilliant. And then the bridge came together quite nicely. I ended up going for a bit more of a classical style bridge than I did anything else. And then we come to this little point of emerge. So you've got the booster bikes that's supposed to be jet skis on the left hand side here, and then of course you've got the RMC that cuts right through the middle of the whole area. We've got a couple of flat rides that sit in here, and then of course over in the background, which you can't see, but through here you then have the is it an Intamin, is it a Mack kind of coaster. I was planning on going this way, but actually I think I'm going to go this way. I'm going to live designing because this area I didn't love. I pulled it together, right? And it's supposed to be a bit like a surf style fishing village. And there's the ice cream shop at the top here, just using like a few nautical things going on, but I wanted it to be a bit more Californian surf. Do you remember like the dive coaster in Royal Mile, that kind of thing? I didn't love it when I first did this because I think this is definitely an area that would need. Oh, I forgot to do the. I forgot to do the triggering on here. Sorry, what was I saying? That's the second time that's distracted me now. Yeah, so I think this is definitely an area that would rely heavily on Thememaker's Toolkit. But actually, I think it pulls it off. These waves are just a stroke of genius. Like, again, when I did them, I was like, oh, it's just a bit jank. But actually, they look all right from peep level. So we've got a name, White Horses. I need to grab who this is from. Hang on. White Horses. Oh, I can't find my notes. There you go. I should have planned for this, shouldn't I? Coaster Madness. Thank you, buddy. So here's the queue, and then this is the station. We're going to go up to the station to see this one, because again, this is another one of those exposed beam kind of stations, but I didn't want this to take up the whole pad. I wanted this to feel like it was definitely put on top of a pad. So this is what we've got here. It's very Mako. Let's see what I can never remember. I never. They interchange their names, don't they? Anyway, that's kind of the station that I was going for here. That whole surf style exposed beam, exposed wood stuff. You've got all the stuff on the inside here, but ultimately an amazing view of the launch from this bit, and that's kind of why I made sure that there was this weird bend. I didn't really explain this in the episode. I just said, oh, there is a weird bend and you're just going to have to put up with it. But this is why. It's because I wanted this view of the launch as it goes. And like I say, they are motorbikes in the game, but they would probably be themed to jet skis in real life, right? So, so there you go. There is the launch. So I reckon we go on the next train, right? See you in a minute. There we go. I can't say this enough. Bikes that are pretending to be jet skis. So we're going to come down this way and into what I think is probably my stroke of inspiration for this area, and it's this gift shop here. This all started with the idea of thinking, oh, I wanted there to be rocks, and I wanted there to be something to do with waves, and I ended up with this, and I love it. And I didn't point this out in the episode, by the way, so exclusive alert. There's neons in here, and these are one of the in-game signs that's just turned on the side and sunk into the wall, and that's the whole reason I used the adventure wall, by the way, is because it was thick enough to hide the sign. So there you go. I just completely forgot to talk about it in the episode, so you're seeing it here for the first time. And then whoop, through the fence, and then we have this little gift shop, which I'm not even going to fix these, but yeah, I wanted this to be a little gift shop, so that's what we've got here, and it's supposed to be like a little bit of a surface outpost. That's what we've got, and I mean, I had ideas of there being all sorts of stuff, and like I wanted to do a lifeboat station and that sort of things, but I decided not to. You get a really nice view of the RMC here. You kind of get an idea of just how imposing on the whole park this RMC was, because it cuts through the middle, whereas the Hyper would have sat on the coastline, so you would have had more space in here, and yes, it would have felt more open, but I don't think it would have felt right. This feels right in a wrong way, or wrong in a right way, depending on your take, right? So then we come into this area, and again, I don't even know where the inspiration for this came from. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna look at Greek Orthodox buildings, neoclassical buildings, and see what I can come up with, and this was what I came up with, and I think it looks alright, you know. I mean, again, you guys might look at it and go, nah, this is pretty crappy, Chacho, but you're definitely overselling this. But ultimately, what I wanted to do was make a bit of a feature of this bad boy. There she is. Is it Mack? Is it Intamin? Macktamin? Mack, whatever you want to call it. There was a suggestion, by the way, about putting a fountain in the middle here, but as you can see, it would kind of be lost. It would only ever be seen when you're actually on the ride, and it didn't really feel right in there. So I've just kept it as foliage and stuff in here, particularly as when this queue is full, it's a completely obscured view, so it just doesn't sit very well. Maybe if I'd have moved the queue, anyway, whatever. It is what it is. But I love how the Troika sits here. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. And I'm glad I took the decision as well to put the maintenance shed, which you can see. Oh, you can't really see it because I've obscured it perfectly. Let me zoom in. There, you can see the maintenance shed in the background. I'm glad that I put that here because, like I said in the episode, they'd remove a couple of these walls. The Troika would be gone completely because it gets dismantled to its component parts, and that's the access point. And it's nicely hidden. So there we go. Well, it's another one that I can't pronounce. Like, so many takes have been ruined doing this. Let's give this one a go, right? Anyway, this is Coaster Vortex. Thank you for your submission here. And this one is Charybdis. It might even be Charybdis. I ruined that. So we're gonna walk this way through the exit and then just jump the queue. So here's the station building. Like I say, I don't know where it came from. Like, I'm never normally this creative. I just pulled this together based on the pictures I saw of the Zeus's temple. Is it Zeus? Was it Poseidon's temple? One of the temples, anyway, in Greece. And yeah, I actually like it. And I know this went through multiple different phases and multiple different shapes and stuff. Like, these pillars were slightly different at one point. I had a two-tone effect going on because I'd clipped two pillars into it, and it was just too much. And then at the top here, it bothered me originally that they weren't completely symmetrical. So, like, the OCD in me hates the fact there's 4 here and all the rest are 3. But actually, it looks all right. So you don't notice it until I point it out to you. Well, you might have noticed it, but you guys were more polite and didn't say anything. But ultimately, this is what I wanted to go for, something a little bit fancy. And then I chose the this fencing here. I normally use this for stuff like merry-go-rounds and carousels and like the whole Merry England style stuff. But actually, this fits quite nicely. And then what I did do was along the side here, I then wanted to have a completely different fence style again that sort of like lined it off, and I wanted to make a feature of waves and stuff. So that's why we've got this bit here. So this is supposed to be the blue is the way is the underneath the blue water, the white being the white horses and stuff, and then these bits are supposed to be splashes. Now I didn't point this out in the episode because I kind of thought it was obvious, but now I'm sort of sitting there thinking perhaps I should just explain it a little bit. And that's also, by the way, where the whole idea of the white horses and the waves came from for the booster bikes. So that's kind of like got links and whatever. It's like a passive link. But then we come up to here. Oh, what am I stuck on? Come on. There you go, and you just get some really nice views of the coaster, and it's custom supporting, which took forever to do. But these custom supports are really fun, right? Because these aren't completely horizontal; they're not completely level, and they're supposed to be like that, and it's great. I love it. Like, yes, but I love doing the custom supports over the water because you then put the footers and stuff in. It just looks as it should do. And then if they were to ever remove the coaster, you could probably just delete the coaster and leave some of the footings in, and then you just have the history of the ride sitting there in the lake, and it's brilliant. So yes. So then we come down this way, and then this is the view inside the station. It's just your typical station, right? It's nothing particularly special. By this point, you know how I do my stations, but I did want to use the tile that comes with one of the facade packs. I think it's probably the Ghostbusters pack because it's one of the city packs, and then the circles on the ground and just all of the bits and the row numbers and stuff in here. Yes, I like it. I like it. Right, train is here. Going for a ride. See you in a minute. There you go, guys. You can still fight it out as to whether it's Mack or Intamin or whatever. I am beyond caring. I know I keep saying this, but it is what it is. We made the best of the situation. So, one last look then at the photo unit. There it is. What a view that is. I'm so chuffed with it. It's just everything I wanted it to be. And I still can't believe I found it. I found these pieces for the first time. Didn't even know they existed. And I'm like, oh my god, this is exactly what I need in this space. So we're all good. We're all good there. Right, so as we walk back down to the entrance, we're going to go past some of the more, shall we say, questionable design choices of the area. I mean, I hate this building. I still hate it. Hate it. But I spent so long on it, I haven't got the heart to delete it and redo it. So I still think it looks like a bank. I still think it looks awful. I still don't like this roof. But you know what? Some of you did like it, so it stays. It's what it is. It does what it needs to do. No, I'm just going to keep walking. And then we've got, I can't go too far, by the way, because these umbrellas are absolutely, it's a minefield of stuff. Hang on, am I going to be able to go down this way? Let's give it a go. What? There you go. I lie. We are going to go down there. So we've got the seating area, and this is deliberate. I wanted to give this view of the at the moment broken down coaster across the lake, and now you actually get some pretty good views of the boat ride and stuff as well. And of course, what's been put in here. We didn't get a chance to have a look at this when we were doing the actual episode. So there we go. We have now seen it. Right, we've got to get out of here now. Oh! There we go. Right. So here's the hammer swing. Has no name or anything. Am I still zoomed in? Yeah, there we go. So it has no name or anything, but I like how this is sitting. When I put this in, I was like, well, I don't know if this would be here. I don't know if this is the right place for it. But yeah, actually, it is. It really is. Here's the toilet block, which nobody loved. Nobody showed any love to the toilet block that's sitting in the middle of the in the middle of the supports of the RMC. But I love it. Like, it's just so jank. And then inside here, of course, it's just your normal toilet block, right? But yeah, it's that's all I'm going to say. It's just a cough. So, you're going to come around this way. There's the chair swing. I didn't really show much of the chair swing, actually, in the episode. I sort of, like, dodged it a little bit. Now I look back at it and thinking, yeah, do you know what? This is sitting quite nicely right where it is, actually. Like, I really quite enjoy this being here. It's got a name and stuff, but hey. Now the next seating area has a lovely view of the RMC. It's not the most, well, look at that timing, happy days. It's not the most thrilling of views of the RMC, right? But it's the final run. It's the last hurrah of the coaster. So and then you get to see it in the brake run and stuff. You get to see the sheer scale of it from here. Actually, that's the one thing I do like, because you can see it from most places. And you know, I was talking to you earlier on about the whole idea of everything being deliberate. There you go. That was completely deliberate. So I knew already when I built the RMC, it was already in the park, that the 360 power was already in place. And I knew that the supports from this point had to frame that whole 360 power. So when it's actually in full swing and whatever, and it's up here, it's just, oh, perfect. Well, I use it as a thumbnail, so yeah, it just frames it nicely. This little building, I am so glad that you guys gave it some love. Like, I'm really glad you gave it some love, because I wasn't entirely sure whether it was going to work and whether it worked as a building, but yeah, it does, and I'm here for it, right? So it's a perfect theme park, perfect theme parky type building. And then of course you've got the Ferris wheel that's sitting pretty there. Again, I wasn't really sure about its positioning and stuff. I didn't know whether it needed to be the other way, but actually this is feeling right. And then we come over to the boating area, and I didn't really have a whole like use for this area. Perhaps it was used quite heavily for all sorts of stuff back in the day, but maybe it's a social gathering point. Maybe you'd have a suggestion last week was about the bands and stuff that might come here. So yeah, I mean, it could just be a performance space. It's very feasible that would be a thing. And I also pointed out, obviously, in the last episode, that this is devoid of all sorts of games and arcades and whatever, and that's kind of by design, but it worked. It works. Oh, hang on. The 360 power is going. I can't tell you that it frames it nicely without actually showing you it framing nicely. Ta-da! See? Trust in the Chacho way. He has method behind his madness. Right, so we're going to come back around this way. There we go. Because we need to draw this one to a close. So we're going to walk past all of the staff that should be doing other things, but it's fine. Come back through this way for the Eurofighter. Yes. Then we come back into the main area, the main entrance area, where you just get one final look of everything in the background. Yes. It's no Thememaker's Toolkit Park, you guys. We did it. We absolutely did it. And we nailed it, I reckon. So, what do you think? I know I said the whole 25,000 subscribers thing and we would do, like, a Thememaker's Toolkit Pass. But should we do it early? Like, is that something that we'd be interested in? I don't know. Let me know. The other thing, by the way, I'm not really sure what the next series is going to be. Let's come out of Tegid Cam and talk. Let's chat. There you go. Because you can see it from the top, you can see it in all of its glory. So I don't actually know what the next series is going to be. I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm a bit lost. I think I'm going to take a couple of episodes, a couple of weeks to do a few little episodes. But I've hit a fork in the road. I can either do an Oakwood meets Pleasurewood Hill style park using Spike's base file that's just out on the workshop, or I can do a Southend meets Blackpool using one of my old scenarios that I put together in the very early days. That's also on the workshop at the moment, so let me know what you think. Those are your two options, by the way, so leave your Disneylands and your Phantasialands at home. It's not happening. Disneyland is 1 million subscribers and Phantasialand is 100,000 subscribers, and I'm sticking to that. Because the amount of effort and time I'm going to need, this channel needs to be my full-time job to do it, and it's not, so that's why. So yeah, let me know what you think. But guys, thank you so much for your support this series. I said it at the top of the episode, I say it at the end of the episode. Thank you. It really does mean the world to me. We'll be back for some more. See you in a bit. Look after yourself until we speak again. Take care. Bye.